We're here with Patrick Hager, head coach of, right now focused on the outdoor track and field teams, but also indoor track and field and cross country. And those sports have kind of melded into one this spring with COVID. And maybe just talk about what it's been like this spring in preparing the team for this point. You've gone through indoor and then had a very abbreviated cross country, and now you're heading into the outdoor E8 championships this weekend. What are some things? How has that progression worked? Jamming everything into a 3-month span, and in terms of training, in terms of athlete preparation, and where they are right now.
Yeah, in some sense, from the pure training side of things, it hasn't changed a lot, because when we started in early February, until now would kind of be our normal training cycle anyway. So, I mean, there's a few differences with, like you mentioned, cross country, but we tried to keep it as normal as possible. You know, for those distance runners, we still kept a lot of workouts on the track. We didn't change things up a ton so that we could still meet our ultimate goals, which are kind of like coming to a point now, trying to run fast on the outdoor track. So, I mean, there's been differences like we talked about earlier, split gender meets, you know, men one day, women one day, which is sort of different for our team, but then some that are the same. So we've just kind of talked early and often about just being ready for anything, you know, so that nothing's a surprise when they get the meet information, when we find out what we're doing. There's no shock to the system. So it's actually been really great. Week to week, we keep them updated early in the week and just get prepped for what that week looks like, whether it's been indoor, cross, or outdoor. They've adapted well.
Yeah, talk about like where your athletes are right now in terms of peaking for E8s. Do you see anything different? I mean, from a positive standpoint or from a negative standpoint in terms of the preparation of where they are and where they maybe would have been in a non-COVID year?
Yeah. Not a ton, to be honest. I mean, a lot of the athletes, especially the distance team, put in some great work in the off season. Very calculated work, very data-driven work, and so they're ready to go. And for the sprinters and the field event athletes who do more technical events, we've had plenty of time to get them ready. So I don't see a whole lot of differences in how we're peaking now. We're seeing a lot of PRs every meet. We're seeing some possible school record attempts go down this weekend. So yeah, I think we're as ready as we honestly would be in a non-COVID year. Some differences might be just, you know, stress levels in some senses could be a little higher, especially this being finals week, which is not and graduation week, which is not normally the case for this meet, but we've handled that well.
All right, talk a little bit about some of the events to watch and some of the athletes to watch, covering both the men and the women and the field events and the track events.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's start with I mean, Adina Sanchez, obviously, you know, she missed indoor championships, so she's kind of has a little chip on her shoulder for missing that, which is great. So, you know, she's going to be in the Open 400, Open 800, and a couple of relays, and she has a chance to win 2, 3, or maybe even 4 events or be a part of those winning relays. So we're looking for her to get closer to that NCAA mark. We'll see if the weather holds up and if the conditions are good for that. Alyssa Lyon in the discus kind of came on strong all of a sudden coming off a volleyball season. She just had a couple of meets that went really well, and she's already qualified for regionals, so she'll throw that on Saturday and contend for the win there. Amanda Berchter will compete in her 2 events on Saturday, 1500 and 5K, and she'll just like she won 2 in indoors, she'll at least be in the mix to win both of those or be highly ranked in those. For the men, Zadomi, you know, has had a great season. He kind of beat this rival last weekend, Joe Nadine from Fisher, in the 2 and the 4, and I'll knock on wood just because Joe Nadine's kind of had his number, and Zadomi beat him the last meet in both of those. So we'll see if he can kind of keep that up and get him again. So he'll have a chance to win those. Jack Howard is an athlete that's just come on strong. You probably haven't heard his name a ton, but he's ranked highly in the 400 hurdles. He's ranked high in the jav. He's going to be a part of the 4x1 and 4x4, who both have a chance to win. So he's an athlete that's going to be huge for us. And then a couple of distance runners, Dylan Bell and Dylan Beckhorn in the 10K on Friday, as well as the 5K on Saturday. They should fare well in that, hopefully hit the regional mark. And Dave Russo in the 1500 on Saturday should do really well. Probably missing somebody in there, but there's a lot of exciting events to watch for the weekend.
But the women in the high jump and
yeah, Hayden Williamson, good call. Yeah, Hayden Williamson, our indoor conference champ. Yeah, she loves track. She loves the team. She's even been running 400 and 400 hurdles, and even though those aren't events she might score in the conference, she loves to compete. She's been asking to just compete more in different events. So I think her enthusiasm will show through the weekend.
From a team standpoint, obviously, I mean, some of those conference teams just basically by the number of athletes they can throw into events, they're going to get those points. So what's a realistic expectation for the team and the amount of points that we could?
Yeah, I think third for both teams is highly possible. I mean, indoor, if I might, and some of the events are a little bit different, indoor and outdoor, so it's not apples and oranges, but indoor, we were fourth barely in both, and that was without Adina Sanchez for the women. And then for the men, that was with Brendan Lewandowski going down early in the meet. So I think we can compete with Utica really in both genders for that third spot. Fisher and Naz will be tough to beat on either end, but us and Utica, and even on the women's side, Alfred has a couple of really strong athletes that'll throw some points into the mix there too. But third is the goal. Yeah.
In terms of what the weather forecast looks like, does that have any play in it, or how's that fit for your athletes?
Yeah.
Maybe mentally and even just physically?
Yeah, I think the thing we talk about obviously is everyone has to deal with that, but I know that, like, again with Adina talking about NCAA qualifying marks, we were excited to possibly get some good weather to see her be pushed by Brenna Johnson from Nazareth in the 400 to both get that mark. But that's sort of secondary. So if that happens, that's great. But obviously, we just talk about just getting ahead of bodies. If you see a body ahead of you, you get it, and that's the whole point for E8. So some of those athletes, they'll have another chance down the road at regionals to get those marks that they're looking for. But Saturday looks great. So Friday's a little bit rough weather-wise. Saturday looks 55 and clear, which is a great day to compete.
Great. All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.